The first contact the story begins in the year 2387 aboard the human Deep Space Monitoring Station, Watchman's Eye. Commander Jake Miller receives an urgent transmission from the Outer Rim sensors. A massive alien fleet approaches Earth's territory. Over 500 ships of unknown design and hostile intent. The aliens call themselves the Vorak Empire. Their leader, War Commander Keth, sends a message to Earth demanding immediate surrender. The Vorak have conquered 47 star systems in the past century. Their message is simple: submit or face extinction. On Earth, the Global Defense Council meets in emergency session. President Liu examines the alien fleet's formation through holographic displays. The Vorak ships are massive, each one 3 times larger than Earth's largest battleships. Their technology seems advanced, with energy shields and plasma weapons that outclass human military hardware. Admiral Ross, head of Earth's Space Navy, reviews their options. Earth has only 12 active warships in the sector. The odds seem impossible. However, Dr. Emma Stone from the Advanced Weapons Division requests permission to speak. She reveals Earth's most classified project, the Planet Cracker. The Planet Cracker is a weapon system that harnesses the power of controlled quantum collapse. It was designed as a mining tool to extract resources from dead worlds, but its destructive potential was immediately recognized. The weapon has never been tested at full power due to safety concerns. Meanwhile, the Vorak fleet advances toward Earth's solar system. Their ships move in perfect formation, confidence radiating from their coordinated movements. War Commander Keth studies reports about humans from their previous encounters with Earth's exploration vessels. He considers humans weak and primitive. With limited technology and no real military strength, the Vorak have standard procedures for conquest. They demand surrender, demonstrate their superior firepower by destroying a few military targets, then occupy the planet. Resistance is usually minimal after their show of force. Keth expects Earth to follow this pattern. On Earth, the debate continues. Some council members advocate for negotiation, hoping to find a peaceful solution. Others argue for immediate military response. Despite the overwhelming odds, Dr. Stone insists that the Planet Cracker could level the playing field. But Admiral Ross worries about the weapon's unpredictable nature. The Vorak fleet enters Earth's solar system and takes position. Near Mars, their ships form a massive wall of metal and energy, blocking out stars with their sheer size. Keth sends another message, this time more threatening. He gives Earth exactly 24 hours to respond with unconditional surrender. President Liu makes the difficult decision. Earth will not surrender, but they will give the Vorak one chance to retreat. She authorizes the deployment of the Planet Cracker, but with strict orders. It will be used only as a warning shot, targeted at an uninhabited world in a nearby system. The weapon is loaded onto Earth's newest vessel, the Prometheus, under Captain Ben Hayes' command. The ship is small compared to Vorak vessels, but it carries humanity's most devastating creation. Dr. Stone personally oversees the weapon's preparation, her hands shaking as she inputs the final calculations. As the 24-hour deadline approaches, the Vorak fleet begins moving toward Earth. Their massive ships advance slowly, savoring what they believe will be an easy victory. War Commander Keth prepares his standard victory speech, already planning how to divide Earth's resources among his officers. Captain Hayes takes the Prometheus to the edge of the solar system, targeting the dead planet Sirian 7 in the neighboring system. The planet is nothing but rock and ice, completely uninhabited, making it perfect for their demonstration. Dr. Stone runs final checks on the Planet Cracker, her equipment humming with barely contained energy. The weapon charges up, drawing power from the ship's entire reactor core. Energy readings spike beyond anything previously recorded. The Prometheus crew watches their instruments with growing amazement and fear. Dr. Stone realizes the weapon is more powerful than their calculations predicted. At exactly 23:59 before the deadline, Captain Hayes fires the planet Cracker. A beam of pure energy, invisible to the naked eye, but devastating beyond imagination, races toward Zerion 7. The crew holds their breath, waiting to see the result of humanity's ultimate warning. Shot. The beam strikes the planet's surface, and something unexpected happens. Instead of creating a large crater as intended, the energy continues straight through the planet's core. Zerion 7 splits completely in half, its two pieces drifting apart in space like a broken toy. The Vorak fleet stops moving. War Commander Keth stares at his screens in disbelief. The humans have just destroyed an entire planet with a single shot. His confidence evaporates as he realizes Earth possesses weapons beyond his understanding. The warning shot has been fired. Now both sides must decide what happens next. Asterisk, the destruction of Zerion 7 sends shockwaves across the galaxy. Within hours, every major civilization receives the sensor data. An entire planet split cleanly in half by a single energy beam from a small human vessel. The implications are staggering. On the Vorak flagship Deathbringer, War Commander Keth stares at the end. Tactical display showing the two halves of Zerion 7 slowly drifting apart. His tactical officer, Sub-Commander Vex, runs the calculations again and again. The energy required to split a planet should be impossible for any known technology. Keth contacts the Vorak High Command on their homeworld. Supreme War Leader Gorth, a veteran of 50 conquest campaigns, initially dismisses the report as exaggeration. When the visual evidence arrives, his confidence crumbles. The Vorak have built their empire on superior firepower, but they possess nothing remotely close to this level of destruction. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, other civilizations react with a mixture of fear and fascination. The peaceful Altarian Republic calls an emergency Senate session. Chancellor Myra examines the data with growing concern. If humans can destroy planets with single shots, what does this mean for galactic stability? The militant Krex Confederation sees opportunity in the chaos. General Torv believes the Vorak-human conflict will weaken both sides, allowing the Krex to expand their territory. He orders his fleets to begin mobilization, planning to strike while the galaxy's attention is elsewhere. Back on Earth, the Global Defense Council meets in continuous session. President Liu faces an impossible situation. The planet Cracker was meant to be a warning, but its unexpected power has created a galactic incident. Ambassador White from the diplomatic corps warns that Earth might now be seen as a threat by every civilization in known space. Dr. Stone analyzes the weapon's performance data. The planet Cracker worked exactly as designed, but the planet's internal structure was weaker than anticipated. The energy beam found natural fault lines and followed them, creating a perfect split. She realizes they've accidentally created the most feared weapon in galactic history. Captain Hayes and the Prometheus crew remain on high alert near the debris field of Zerion 7. They watch as alien ships from various civilizations arrive to study the destruction. Some maintain respectful distances, while others send probes to collect samples. The galaxy wants to understand how humans achieve the impossible. The Vorak fleet remains frozen in space, unwilling to advance or retreat. War Commander Keth receives contradictory orders from High Command. Some generals demand immediate attack to maintain Vorak honor, while others counsel withdrawal to reassess the situation. The empire that has conquered 47 worlds suddenly faces an enemy they don't understand. On the Altarian homeworld, scientists work frantically to understand the weapon's principles. Professor Dan leads a team analyzing the energy signatures. If humans can split planets, perhaps the same technology could be adapted for peaceful purposes like terraforming or asteroid mining. The Altarians see potential for cooperation, rather. then conflict. However, not all reactions are measured. The savage clans of the Outer Rim interpret the planet's destruction as a challenge. Clan Chief Rex declares that humans must be tested in combat. The clans begin gathering their raiding fleets, eager to face an enemy with such devastating weapons. President Liu decides on a bold strategy. Instead of hiding Earth's capabilities, she chooses transparency. Earth will share the basic principles of the planet Cracker with allied civilizations while maintaining control of the actual weapon. This approach might prevent an arms race while establishing Earth as a major galactic power. Admiral Ross disagrees with this decision. He argues that revealing their technological advantage could lead to every civilization either attacking Earth preemptively or forming alliances against them. The military recommendation is to keep the weapons secret while building more planet crackers for defense. Dr. Stone faces an ethical dilemma. As the weapon's creator, she understands its potential for both destruction and peaceful applications. She begins developing safety protocols and usage guidelines, hoping to prevent accidental catastrophes in the future. The Vorak High Command finally reaches a decision. Supreme War Leader Gorth orders War Commander Keth to open negotiations with Earth. The Vorak cannot risk their entire empire against a weapon that can destroy planets. This decision sends shockwaves through Vorak society, where retreat is considered the ultimate shame. As news of the planned negotiation spreads, other civilizations begin choosing sides. The Altarian Republic offers to mediate the talks, while the Krex Confederation denounces any peaceful resolution. The galaxy divides into factions, those who support human Vorak negotiations and those who see weakness in the Vorak's decision. The Prometheus continues its patrol near the Zarian 7 debris field, now a monument to humanity's unexpected power. Captain Hayes receives reports of multiple alien fleets converging on the area. Some come as observers, others as potential threats. The warning shot has accomplished its purpose, but it has also changed the balance of power in the galaxy forever. The question remains, can humanity handle the responsibility of wielding such devastating power? The neutral station Haven's Rest becomes the site of the most important diplomatic meeting in galactic history. President Liu arrives with a small delegation, including Ambassador White and Dr. Stone. The Vorak send War Commander Keth with a team of their finest diplomats and scientists. The Altarian Republic provides security and mediation services. Chancellor Mira personally oversees the arrangements, understanding that the outcome will shape the galaxy's future. The station buzzes with representatives from dozens of civilizations, all hoping to influence the negotiations. War Commander Keth enters the main conference room with visible reluctance. For a warrior culture like the Vorak, negotiating with enemies is deeply shameful. However, the image of Zarian 7 splitting in half haunts every Vorak leader. They cannot risk their entire civilization against an unknown weapon. President Liu opens the talks with a simple statement. Earth desires peace, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. She presents the planet Cracker as a defensive weapon, never intended for conquest. The Vorak delegation exchanges skeptical glances, remembering their own justifications for aggression. Dr. Stone provides technical details about the weapon's capabilities, carefully omitting crucial information about its construction. She explains that the planet Cracker requires enormous amounts of energy and specialized targeting systems. The weapon cannot be mass-produced or easily replicated. Keth responds with typical Vorak directness. His empire has conquered 47 worlds through superior military force. The Vorak do not understand peaceful coexistence with equals. They need time to adapt their entire worldview to accommodate a civilization that can destroy planets. Meanwhile, outside the conference room, other civilizations pursue their own agendas. The Krex Confederation spy network, led by Agent Storm, attempts to steal planet cracker technology. They believe such a weapon would allow them to dominate the galaxy without lengthy conquest campaigns. The Savage clans send representatives not for peace, but to study their potential enemies. Clan War Chief Blake observes human behavior, looking for weaknesses to exploit. The clans respect strength above all else, and they want to test themselves against planet-destroying humans. Back on Earth, construction begins on 3 additional planet crackers. Admiral Ross oversees the project, despite President Liu's public commitment to peace. The military leadership refuses to rely on diplomacy alone when facing a galaxy full of potential threats. The negotiations face their first major crisis when the Vorak demand proof that Earth possesses multiple planet crackers. Keth argues that a single weapon could have been a lucky accident or borrowed technology. The Vorak need to understand the true extent of human capabilities. President Liu faces a difficult choice. Demonstrating multiple weapons would prove Earth's strength, but might trigger a galactic arms race. Refusing to provide proof could lead to the Vorak testing human resolve through renewed attacks. Chancellor Myra suggests a compromise. Instead of another destructive demonstration, Earth could share energy readings and technical specifications with neutral observers. This approach would verify their capabilities without additional destruction. Dr. Stone reluctantly agrees too. The compromise, though she worries about technology theft. She prepares carefully edited technical documents that prove the weapon's existence without revealing its construction secrets. The scientific community across the galaxy waits eagerly for this unprecedented data. During a private meeting, Keth reveals the true reason for Vorak aggression. Their homeworld is dying due to industrial pollution and resource depletion. The Vorak Empire expanded through conquest because they needed new worlds to sustain their population. War Commander Keth admits that his people face extinction within 50 years without continued expansion. This revelation changes everything. President Liu realizes that the Vorak aren't simply aggressive conquerors, but desperate survivors. She proposes a radical solution. Earth will help the Vorak develop clean energy technology and terraforming techniques in exchange for an end to their conquest campaigns. The proposal shocks both delegations. The Vorak have never received help from conquered species, only exploitation. The concept of mutual cooperation is completely foreign to their military-dominated culture. Some Vorak generals consider the offer an insult to their warrior traditions. However, younger Vorak officers, led by Sub-Commander Vex, see the potential in peaceful cooperation. They argue that survival matters more than military honor. The Vorak delegation splits into 2 factions: traditionalists who demand continued conquest and reformers who support cooperation with Earth. The Krex Confederation finally reveals their true intentions. General Torv announces that his fleets have surrounded the negotiation station. He demands that all participants surrender their advanced technologies or face destruction. The Krex believe they can overwhelm any opposition through sheer numbers. The crisis escalates when Savage clan raiders attack Vorak supply lines, hoping to provoke a war between the 2 most powerful militaries in the galaxy. War Chief Blake's forces strike without warning, using the chaos of negotiations to launch their campaign of violence. President Liu realizes that the negotiations have become a target for every ambitious civilization in the galaxy. Earth must choose between protecting their new diplomatic relationship with the Vorak or defending themselves against multiple threats. The planet cracker suddenly seems less like a deterrent and more like a beacon attracting dangerous attention. As alarms sound throughout Haven's Rest, the delegates face their first test of cooperation under fire. The attack on Haven's Rest comes without warning. Krex warships emerge from hyperspace, their dark hulls bristling with weapons. General Torvs. Voice echoes through the station's communication system. Surrender all advanced technologies or be destroyed. You have 1 hour. President Liu and War Commander Keth find themselves trapped together in the conference room as the station's defenses activate. The Altarian security forces, led by Captain Nova, establish defensive positions throughout the facility. However, their peaceful civilization's military is no match for the Krek's war machine. The Krek's fleet consists of over 200 vessels, each one designed for brutal efficiency. Their strategy is simple: overwhelm the enemy with superior numbers and firepower. General Torv believes that even planet-destroying weapons cannot target his entire fleet simultaneously. Captain Hayes receives emergency orders aboard the Prometheus. The ship races toward Haven's Rest, its planet cracker charging for combat. However, the weapon was designed for single massive targets, not fleet engagements. Dr. Stone realizes they need a new strategy to fight multiple enemies. Meanwhile, savage clan raiders continue their attacks on Vorak supply lines. War Chief Blake's forces strike with hit-and-run tactics, hoping to weaken the Vorak before they can form an alliance with Earth. The clans see opportunity in the chaos, believing they can claim territory while the major powers fight each other. Inside Haven's Rest, an unlikely partnership forms. War Commander Keth orders his personal guard to protect the human delegates. The Vorak warriors, trained from birth for combat, coordinate with Altarian security forces despite their philosophical differences. Ancient enemies work together against a common threat. President Liu makes a critical decision. She authorizes the use of Earth's emergency protocols, revealing that the planet cracker was never humanity's only advanced weapon. Earth has developed a network of defensive satellites equipped with focused energy beams. Originally intended for asteroid deflection, the satellites activate throughout the solar system, their beams targeting the Krek's fleet with precision strikes. Unlike the planet cracker's devastating power, these weapons are designed for surgical accuracy. Krek ships find their shields overloaded and their weapon systems disabled. General Torv realizes his intelligence was incomplete. The humans possess not just one devastating weapon, but an entire network of advanced technologies. His fleet, designed to overwhelm through numbers, becomes vulnerable to targeted strikes that neutralize specific systems without destroying entire ships. The Vorak fleet, still positioned near Mars, faces a difficult choice. They can remain neutral and watch the battle unfold, or they can honor their new diplomatic relationship with Earth. Sub-Commander Vex argues for intervention, while traditionalist officers demand they exploit the situation. War Commander Keth makes the decision from inside Haven's Rest. He orders his fleet to defend the negotiation station, officially ending centuries of Vorak isolationism. The massive Vorak battleships move to intercept Krek's vessels, their plasma, cannons lighting up space with brilliant energy discharges. The battle becomes a three-way conflict when savage clan raiders arrive at Haven's Rest. War Chief Blake's forces attack all sides indiscriminately, seeking to prove their strength against the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. The clans fight with berserker fury, their ships ramming enemy vessels when ammunition runs low. Dr. Stone coordinates the defensive efforts from the station's command center. She discovers that the various alien technologies can be combined in unexpected ways. Altarian shield generators, enhanced by human energy systems and coordinated with Vorak targeting computers, create a formidable defense network. Captain Hayes arrives with the Prometheus, but the planet cracker proves too dangerous to use in close combat. Instead, he employs the weapon's charging system to overload Krek's ship sensors, blinding entire squadrons temporarily. The technique requires precise timing and leaves the Prometheus vulnerable during the energy discharge. The tide turns when Chancellor Myra reveals the Altarian Republic's hidden capabilities. Their peaceful civilization has developed advanced defensive technologies, including energy shields that can protect entire space stations. The Altarians activate their systems, turning Haven's Rest into a fortress. General Torv's strategy begins. To fail as his fleet faces coordinated resistance from multiple civilizations. The Krex warships, designed for overwhelming single enemies, struggle against the combined technologies of Earth, Vorak, and Altarian forces. His numerical advantage means nothing when his ships cannot effectively target their enemies. The Savage. Clans, however, adapt quickly to the changing battle. War Chief Blake's raiders use captured Krex vessels as weapons, piloting them into enemy formations in suicide attacks. The clan's unpredictable tactics disrupt carefully planned defensive strategies. As the battle rages, President Liu proposes a desperate gambit. The planet Cracker could be used not as a weapon, but as a massive energy source. By overloading its systems, they could create an electromagnetic pulse that would disable all ships in the area, forcing a ceasefire. The plan requires cooperation from all three allied civilizations and carries enormous risks. If the energy discharge is too powerful, it could destroy Haven's Rest and everyone aboard. However, facing annihilation from multiple enemies, the desperate alliance has few alternatives. The delegates must choose, trust each other completely, or face certain defeat alone. The desperate gambit succeeds beyond all expectations. Dr. Stone, working with Vorak engineers and Altarian scientists, creates a controlled overload of the planet Cracker's energy systems. The massive electromagnetic pulse disables every ship within a 100,000-kilometer radius, forcing an immediate ceasefire. The sudden silence of space is deafening. Krex warships drift powerlessly, their weapon systems offline. Savage Clan. Raiders find themselves unable to continue their suicide attacks. Even the allied vessels lose power temporarily, floating in the darkness as their crews work frantically to restore emergency systems. General Torv, trapped aboard his disabled flagship, finally understands the true scope of human technological advancement. The planet Cracker was never just a weapon, but part of a sophisticated network of energy manipulation systems. His intelligence reports had focused on the weapon's destructive power while missing its versatility. Blake faces a different realization. The Savage clans prided themselves on adaptation and unpredictability, but they had never encountered an enemy who could simply turn off their ships. The electromagnetic pulse represents a level of technological sophistication that challenges everything the clans believed about strength and survival. President Liu uses the temporary ceasefire to address all the disabled fleets simultaneously. Her message is broadcast across every communication channel. This is what cooperation can achieve. We could have destroyed every ship here, but we chose to disable them instead. The choice between destruction and cooperation is now yours. The response varies dramatically across the different civilizations. The Altarian Republic immediately offers to mediate permanent peace talks. Chancellor Myra proposes the creation of a galactic council where disputes can be resolved through diplomacy rather than warfare. The Vorak delegation splits completely. War Commander Keth, having witnessed the power of cooperation firsthand, advocates for joining the proposed alliance. However, many Vorak generals consider the electromagnetic pulse a form of humiliation worse than military defeat. They demand return to traditional conquest methods. Sub-Commander Vex leads the Vorak reformist faction, arguing that survival requires adaptation. The Vorak homeworld's environmental crisis cannot be solved through conquest alone. They need the advanced technologies and scientific cooperation that Earth and the Altarians offer. The Krex Confederation faces internal revolution. General Torv's failed strategy exposes the weakness of their military-first approach. Younger officers, led by Commander Steele, argue for diplomatic engagement with the new alliance. They recognize that future conflicts will require technological sophistication, not just numerical superiority. The savage clans react with typical unpredictability. Some clan leaders, like War Chief Blake, see the electromagnetic pulse as the ultimate challenge and seek to develop countermeasures. Others, however, recognize an opportunity to test themselves against more sophisticated opponents through cooperative competition rather than warfare. As ship systems slowly come online, the various fleets must decide their next actions. The Krex fleet is outnumbered and outgunned, their surprise attack having failed completely. The Savage Clan raiders lack the resources for sustained combat. The initiative has passed to the Alliance of Earth, Vorak, and Altarian forces. Dr. Stone begins working on the framework for technology sharing among allied civilizations. The Planet Cracker's principles could be adapted for peaceful purposes, terraforming dead worlds, mining asteroid belts, and even providing clean energy for entire star systems. The weapon that split the planet in half could also build new worlds. Captain Hayes and the Prometheus become the flagship of the new Galactic Defense Force. The ship's crew, having fired the warning shot that changed everything, now leads efforts to maintain peace through strength. The Planet Cracker serves as both deterrent and tool for construction. The negotiations resume aboard Haven's Rest, but now with a broader scope. Instead of simple peace talks between Earth and the Vorak, the discussions encompass the entire galaxies. Future. The electromagnetic pulse demonstrated that cooperation could overcome any threat, but it also revealed the fragility of technological civilization. President Liu proposes the Galactic Cooperation Treaty, establishing rules for technology, sharing, conflict resolution, and mutual defense. The treaty requires all signatories to resolve disputes through diplomatic means before resorting to military action. Violations would result in coordinated response from all allied civilizations. The treaty's most controversial provision establishes the Planet Cracker as a weapon of last resort, controlled by the Galactic Council rather than any single civilization. This decision ensures that no one power can dominate the galaxy while providing ultimate protection against existential threats. War Commander Keth becomes the first Vorak to sign the treaty, officially ending their empire's conquest campaigns. The decision triggers civil war on the Vorak homeworld, but it also opens the door for environmental restoration and peaceful development. The Krex Confederation splits into two factions: the military traditionalists, who reject the treaty, and the reformists, who embrace cooperation. Commander Steele leads the reformist faction in joining the alliance, while General Torv retreats to the Outer Rim with his remaining loyalists. The Savage Clans negotiate a unique arrangement. Instead of formal treaty membership, they agree to limit their raids to uninhabited systems and to serve as a training force for allied military units. The clans get their desired combat challenges while channeling their aggression toward constructive purposes. As the story concludes, Earth has become the catalyst for a new galactic order. The warning shot that split Zarian 7 in half ultimately split the galaxy between those who embrace cooperation and those who cling to old ways of conquest. And conflict. The Planet Cracker remains charged and ready, a reminder that some warnings should never be ignored. Asterisk.